Well, hello and welcome to another video. We're starting off for this video in my kitchen. I've got a new idea for a video. I've seen other photographers do this before, and it's basically the idea of taking one image through to getting it out in the field and capturing it and then bringing it back and showing you how that I would edit it just for that one image. Now, I've actually taken this image before, this composition, and it looks like this. And the reason I like this image is because we've got a nice grove of trees that are showing the interest in the middle, and then on either side of them it's got some of the key features of Beverley, the black mill, and I think it's the minster on the other side of it that I really like. So it gives a really nice balanced image, and it works really well as a 16:9 sort of what we call a letterbox crop, and that, which I've noticed actually recently it's one of my favourite aspect ratios to shoot, and I really like the look, and I can really imagine that kind of a print being on a wall, which is ideally what this is going to be, a print for a wall. So my issue with the image as it is that it was taken in very flat light and has a very flat sort of edit as a result. I really like the edit, and it's quite typical of my style. It's quite muted with quite sort of warm tones to it. But I'm hoping this one is going to be a bit more powerful in terms of the colour, with a nice sunset up on the westward. So I use two apps when it comes to vaguely planning my photography expeditions, and the shots that I'm going to take. The first is called Clear Outside, which is a weather app, and that basically, it tells you what the weather's going to be. It gives you the chance of fog and things like that, but most importantly, I think what I use it for the most is that it shows the cloud cover, how much cover there's going to be in total, and how much high cloud down to low cloud there's going to be, which is what makes the difference with a sunset and the kind of colour that you get in the sky. So yeah, I've had a look, and the cloud cover looks fairly minimal, and with some cloud cover that's quite high up for this afternoon, which is great. And then I use suncalc.net, which is another free app that just allows you to see what direction the sunset is going to come to, pinpoint it right down to a specific location. So I've used those two, and I'm hoping that tonight is going to be a good night to get some colour in the sky. So I'll take you out, we'll shoot the image on the westward, and then I'll bring you back in to edit the image in Lightroom. So let's see how we get on. Okay, so I've managed to find the composition that I lesson learned that in some places you can have lots of trees that look similar, and because there's two groves of trees on this sort of slope on the westward, and I was around in front of one of them for ages, trying desperately to work out where on earth I'd taken this picture from. Couldn't get the angles right, couldn't see the minster in part of it. Kept walking up and thinking, oh, now I'm too far away. It was the wrong group of trees. There's one, the next one up. So luckily, for all that faffing around, I managed to get up here just in time. You can just see now the light's just dying, but there's certainly no light on the trees. It's an okay shot. It was fairly rushed, but I set up the panoramic. The main thing is to get your tripod nice and level, using the spirit level that I've got on this. Sticking it in manual mode so that the exposure is not going to change as it goes across the scene, because it can change with the light. And then I loosen my tripod and just take, I don't know, probably about 9 images I think on that one, which I'll stitch together in Lightroom. So yeah, not perfect. The trees actually, because we're still in the the back part of winter, what on earth is this? They're very bare. It didn't look great, and I actually think it's probably, well, definitely going to be a better picture in the autumn term. In the autumn season. I'm a teacher, I do apologise. So yeah, I will stitch it together. So we'll go back into the office or kitchen, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Okay, and welcome back into the kitchen, where we can look at our image that we've taken out in the field. So the first thing to say about this is, having been out and taken the picture, like I said in the video, it wasn't really the best idea for various reasons. I mean, first of all, the image is just fairly basic. The trees, thinking I was going to get a better image of the trees in winter when there's nothing on their branches, as opposed to when I took it in the summer-ish last year when there was lots of different colour. I don't know really what I was thinking, but anyway. I do like the image. There are things about it. I just think it needs a particular style in the edit, and I don't think a basic edit is going to do. So I'll talk you through what I'm doing. I've tried to do this as a live edit to show you the video as I'm actually doing it, but my computer is just not quick enough to keep up with and screen record and let me do it at the same time. So I've actually edited it already. So here's the image after I have blended my panoramic images together. What I'll do is I'll show you first of all my final edit, which looks like this. Okay, and you'll see that image properly at the end. But it was never going to be the shot that I want it to be. It's not going to be a print for a wall. It's just not, there's not enough interest in it, but I'm going to go through the process anyway. So what I'm going to do is just go down the history module on the side and just talk through what I did to it. So the first thing is to crop the image. So you can see it's quite a wide shot that I've taken. I actually went for a custom crop on this one. A 16:9 was way too narrow. It didn't bring in the Black Mill and the Minster, which were the two parts that I really wanted to bring into it. So eventually that's the crop I ended up with, getting it nice and central and a nice balance between the two as well. Then came on to my highlights. Just dropped the highlights down at the top of the image so you can see that brings out some details at the top branches. Boosted the shadows a little bit because there is quite a dark area down the side that I needed to work in. I actually do come back to that later on. Bit of contrast to give the image a bit of punch, and also a bit of dehaze as well, which you'll notice just brings some saturation out into the image as well. Then I do my point curve, which I do as an S curve, but I like to what they call crush the black. So you'll notice what that does. When I click on that, it just really flattens the blacks and gives it quite a sort of faded look, which a lot of my images do. I think I then brought the blacks up a little bit because that was looking a little bit dark, and the exposure up a little bit, just a fraction as well, just by 0.15 there. So I then decided that I wanted to add in a radial gradient because it was looking a little bit dark. So eventually ended up with something like this. So just putting a radial gradient into the middle on the trees and just lifting those out a little bit. I then went to the colours and I knew that I wanted to really flatten the colours and sort of mute it to give it a sort of autumnal almost feel, taking those greens and yellows out. So you'll notice, first of all, brought the greens down a little bit, bringing some oranges into the sort of reds, changing my yellows to a kind of orange, and then eventually settling on something about like that. Okay, so it's getting there now. The one issue I had is that on the right hand side of the image there's an extremely dark patch where, because the light was all hitting over on the left hand side, that shadow there is a group of trees over on the horizon. So I brought in a radial gradient there just to lift those shadows just a little bit, which I think that's going to show you that. Update radial gradient. My computer's incredibly slow. There we go. So you can see that's just raised those shadows slightly. And then finally just sort of shifted the blues in the sky a little bit. So I'll show you the final image. But the main reason I also wanted to do this video is that what happened after I'd taken this image, walking down the hill behind this group of trees, and the sun was then setting behind a group of silhouetted trees. So I really wanted to incorporate those images as well. And I also had a little bit of fun just taking pictures of clouds and the clouds sort of catching the light as they were coming through. So I won't bore you with the edit on those. But I'll show you this image now, and do stick around because there'll be a few more images to have a look at as well. Thank you for watching the video. I hope it was interesting, something a little bit different, and I apologise for the delay in getting it out. Struggling a little bit with videos at the moment and photography in general. Half term's coming up. I don't know if I actually just need a break from it and to do something different. It does end up being a little bit of a stress, but I'll see. So I apologise that this has come out a little bit late, but I hope you'll appreciate it nonetheless. So take care of yourselves, enjoy the rest of the images, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.